tell you. Listen, I'll tell you the front a lot is incredible, even recommended to rock the mic like instead of a silence. You'd have me fronting into the amplifier, point with the thumb at which MC to admire. I got high-res images of drum sounds that illuminate. You get to listen to them and to me too. How fortunate y'all are to get to bask under my glow to MC, humble conduit to nerdcore flow. Now it's time for a little brag of that show, while I swing my arms like Ralph Macchio.
MC Frontalot is a nerd.
MC Frontalot is the grandfather of nerdcore hip-hop.
MC Frontalot made up the term nerdcore.
Frontalot raps about all the things I care about, like Magic the Gathering and internet porn addiction.
He looks and acts and talks and uses words just like my English 3 high school teacher.
And the trophy for the most awesomest rapper in the tri-state area goes to... Hold on, I'm having some trouble with the envelope. Holy shit! It's MC Frontalot!
I stand 77 feet tall, I got 8 balls. All of y'all are subject to my thrall. I act appalled when in receipt of less than the highest on a Sunday. I'll be both revered and passe like Madonna. I'm all in effect, pretend to genuflect when I enter rooms, cause all dopeness is subsumed. I spell the doom, the hip-hop subgenre you used to prefer. This key case with a bit of safety with the predilections that I've incurred. You say word with the surfeit defeats, I'm unlikely to run out. So bright it's like I'm redundant to have the sun out and one out. The beat 10 raps is hyperbolic, it's all inconsequential, cause you're just here to hear about tongue frolic. Now it's time for a little brag of that show, while I swing my arms like Ralph Macchio.
Nerdcore hip-hop is nerdy hip-hop.
You know, rapping about math and science.
Star Wars and Battlestar Galactica.
Chewbacca and Cunnilingus.
It's everything that hip-hop isn't.
Rap is all about I am awesome, I'm the shit. Whereas nerdcore is all about like my car doesn't really work and I haven't had sex in a year and a half.
You know, hip-hop grew up to be the essence of cool. This nerdcore prides itself on not being that.
Is a nerdcore artist a white person who raps from a thesaurus?
Nerdcore hip-hop is like playing Halo while getting a blowjob from Hello Kitty.
Is the core sufficiently nerdy?
That's sort of like the Bill Gates going fucking hip-hop, you know?
And nerdcore, to me, when I first heard the term, I was like, what is that even?
It's ostensibly the ironic juxtaposition of two very disparate cultures.
It's like lyrical content of the geek culture.
Music that reflects a subculture of people who should not be listening to rap.
Like a journalist is just gonna have to slam 12 words together just to make an attempt to describe it, you know?
Now it's time for a little brag of that show, while I swing my arms like Ralph Macchio.
Anytime you can work Ralph Macchio into a song, I can respect that.
I would have his baby.
I want to have his baby.
I'd let him have my abortion. These guys are just kind of rapping about their lives, and that's pretty sweet.
It speaks to my heart.
Fronts on sync, go wagon. Keep slanging files, every combination to add weight to fat tracks. Overlay this very vocal via guns that flat. Sap clock cycles from the sucker MCs as they struggle to parse. And yet, the front's no farce. I'm also massive aspirations, stations up in my head to be the dopest innovation since the slicing of bread. Instead of simply relying on my insistence to prove that every twist of my tongue is another radical move. Which it is.
Nerdcore's rising.
This is my first time touring at all. Brandon has toured before.
It's feeling a little hectic. Well, in honesty, I'm a little concerned about how much stuff Brandon wants to break. This is a perfect length tour, I think, for a band's first time. I guess, actually, out of all of them, I'm the seasoned veteran of touring.
I expect this tour is going to have a lot of nerdy folks who are, you know, obsessed with computers, role-playing games. I expect we will have a minimum of groupies, probably in the neighborhood of 0 to 1.
Behind schedule, but we'll just drive through the night.
He's a professional musician. I'm more of a dilettante. I have a nasty spasm in my back, which I'm hoping will clear up before Spartanburg. I don't know whether I actually did something bad to my back or whether I'm just sort of focusing all of my anxiety and fear about touring and being successful in the music industry into this little spot between these two ribs. There's nothing that would force me to not be MC Frontalot, but there's two ways to do it. There's this, like, I'm gonna put my energy into trying to make it really work as a career option, and there's something that I throw work into every couple months. I could do that forever at no cost, or I can do this at the cost of everything. So what did we want to do? Like, let's all touch elbows or something. Okay. Just want to
Nerds, you gotta make the nerd
thank you
first.
guys for doing all this like nonsense running around with me and all the chaos and back injuries. This tour is going to go reasonably well, at least.
It's a free vacation.
It is. Sure. For you guys, free vacation. For me, incredibly expensive vacation.
Tell us the spiel, like, because we're a little skeptical about whether this was a good choice for us. So tell us how awesome it's going to be.
No, actually, chances are you're all going to be filled with horrifying regrets. So I've got a couple of goals for the tour. One of them is to get Gabi hard drinking. Hard drinking. Brandon, we're going to bump up to heroin. And Sturgis, we're going to keep chock full of breakfast bars.
Yay! How come Sturgis gets the breakfast bars?
Because I crash otherwise, and you don't want that.
We got to keep exactly 400 calories in him at all times.
Right. In fact, I think I just dropped to 398.
Now we're on tour! Yay!
Yay! Tour. It's really not that.
I'm being the guy who's like the life of the party in an 80s movie.
I met Damien when I was in high school in the back of geometry. I just saw the back of his head and I thought he was a nerd.
This is supposed to be on my neck! You know?
In high school, we had this rapping that we would do because we were all in love with rap music. Basically what he would do, I think, usually was take a beat of a song that like had a big section that there was no rapping over it and just kind of use that and then stick little samples over that.
MC, front a lot, the arch criminal for some reason saw it. Saw it.
You know, Damien's recording all this on his 4-track and kind of like, you know, putting together these really primitive samples, you know, because this is all pre-computer.
We're having our debut. Our first show. We worked real hard to get into the talent show, and tonight's our big break.
When I sat down to write raps, I just sort of noticed after a little while of doing that these were the dorkiest raps that I had come into contact with. So I called them nerdcore just to be descriptive.
I mean, Damien was surely targeted as a dork for a long time.
I couldn't be a regular rapper. I'm not a cool kid. So I didn't choose nerdcore. Nerdcore just turned out to be what I was doing naturally.
He always had this dream that he wanted to make a rap album. I think that's what the dream was.
I had been hoping that I would be able to look at it afterwards and say that it's really obvious that I should keep being MC Frontalot full-time and not go back to being hobbyist MC Frontalot who hustles web design work during the day.
Damien is trying to figure out if this is something he wants to do more of.
But I'm 32, so yeah, this year is about finding out if being a touring musician is viable.
You know, there aren't a lot of people out there who are sort of saying, look at what a dork I am.
I think a lot of the nerdcore stuff is novelty. It's like, oh, we're nerdy white kids who like Snoop Dogg and are being ironic with that juxtaposition of cultures. And that's like funny for 30 seconds, you know what I mean? But it's doesn't really have anything to say about the world or art or, you know what I mean? Delete.
I think that nerdcore is viewed as something comical. I don't think anybody likes being called a novelty. It has a very negative connotation.
The goal is to be funny without being a joke.
If it becomes like a label where people want to distance themselves from it because there's been, you know, a certain bitterness associated with it, like that'll be, you know, that's a problem I don't want to see.
I think the danger of it is that, you know, you kind of dive into your subculture and stay there.
The more you genreify things, it makes what comes after it that much less interesting.
I think it's a valid genre.
Be careful with your own stereotype. It could become a prison.
Look, I'm having no more of this.
What? No, I'm having no more of this.
No, you're not here.
No, I'm telling you, I'm having no more of this. The rest
Eat
is for
hard
you.
hog.
No, I couldn't eat another bite.
I have no awareness of fans because Damien just makes exaggerated claims and I have no idea if they're true or not. You know, I mean, they just tell me, you know, like based on my web server traffic, I think I have about 30,000 fans. So you're kind of like 30,000, that's awesome. But I mean, who knows? It's the internet.
Without the internet, there would be no nerdcore.
The internet is sort of like the new MTV. I'm not beholden to executives to decide whether or not my video can get played. It's like you upload it and it's out there, and it's amazing.
Before it was like really risky going, you buy a CD and maybe the CD would suck, and maybe you spent your $12 wisely. You never really knew. But now you can definitely check things out before you go in and slap the money down.
The fact that you can basically do a lot of nerdcore without a band certainly makes it economically feasible.
Now, everything's just pre-made for you. It's there. So it's there for anybody to get online, anybody who has access to a computer to basically just go, okay, I like this, I like this, I like this.
Basically do it yourself, do it in GarageBand.
Add what a bit. Okay, that's done. Bip, orgasm. Bip.
It's cheap to produce and people like it.
The means of production have fallen into the hands of the proletariat.
Definitely, I think the internet publicity is a big part of nerdcore, whether it wants to be or not.
Anything technological we rap about. And so we've all grown up on the internet, grown up online.
I'm all over the internet all the time, and my goal is to be an internet celebrity.
It's great that I'm able to utilize the internet like that. A lot of artists are complaining how, you know, the peer-to-peer file sharing sites have cannibalized their record sales, and that's true. I'm not going to deny that, but you try to learn to work within the new paradigm.
It makes me glad I'm from an era in which you got paid. That's what that does for me. I mean, no, but what that should do is give you the incentive to go figure out how to market your music on the net, you know, put a naked woman, attach it to it, and say, go to this site, and maybe somebody listen to your music and go, wow, he's great, you know.
My site stats have just been going through the roof lately. I'm getting a lot of downloads, and so there's an audience somewhere.
Yes, they're stealing the music and running it on CDRs and handing it out, but that's okay.
There's good sides and bad sides. There's, you know, promotional value versus outright thievery.
It's never fun to lose money, but you can't really stop a humongous zombie army. Have you tried?
What are hard gels?
Today we educated Gabi on a very important lesson.
I had no idea. But
But he
apparently you're
didn't.
not supposed to wear the shirt of your own band while in a documentary about your band. I thought that was cool.
Look at our castle. Dude, tonight! You were staying there tonight!
Just like already we're feeling the benefits of the kind of like major full-scale rock stardom we've already achieved. Fairfield Inn. It's amazing. We're keeping it real. I know, I mean, there's no real for us to keep. I think that's the point.
I do it. Fold it over in front, right? Come up and over. This is called like a full Windsor, a half Windsor.
Is it the four in hand? Is it around once, twice, up through, down through?
Let me write this down. I want to learn how to do it. I'm going to.
You've never tried a tie ever in your life?
I have dyslexia. Just consider me as having dyslexia in this area of my life, okay? It's like as if I can't read a word.
Okay.
And
that's fine, man.
You know what I mean?
I think it's fine that you don't know how to tie.
Thanks, Brandon.
Why are you nervous?
It's gonna be great. Tonight's gonna be awesome.
You're there for
We're
thanks.
young.
You're nervous?
We have at least two nerves.
Dude, we have people. I was nervous there wouldn't be anybody there.
I'm not good at rapping. I'm okay at rapping, like finally after years of work, I'm okay at rapping, but I know my limitations and I kind of try to function within them.
I always forget the lyrics of the songs I do the first time.
They don't know and won't know. They won't know if you forget. You could
I'm gonna have to poop like really badly and during the second song, and then through the whole rest of the set, I'm gonna be like, oh, I have to poop, and that'll impact my rapping negatively.
It'll impact more than your rapping, my friend.
You could eat something now that would make you.
No,
poop
you know
in
what
the
you need
next
to
hour.
do? We need to find a colon hydrotherapist. Like,
Why did we bring a documentary crew? We could have brought a colon hydrotherapist.
We could have all been.
Could have brought 3
very,
colon,
very healthy young
and then
men.
only Gabi would have like be plugged up, and the rest of us would be like rocking
We
it.
could just double with the hard one.
Hell no, but you're not using mine.
We can
You're not.
split
Look,
mine. One night you
my
do-
Colin,
Brandon, you'll
Colin.
split, right?
It won't. It doesn't work with you.
Because I'm so tight-assed that I'm the tight-assed one. I don't drink. I get it. I see where you guys are going. But you know what? Fuck We're gonna go. This is it. Our first nerdcore concert. Will they love us? Will they even be there? Will there be like 6 people there from MySpace, which is owned by Fox News? I don't know. We're gonna see. What's gonna happen tonight? Are there gonna be 6 people in the audience? Are there gonna be 10? What do you think, Black Lotus?
Hey, can we take wagers?
Sure.
Can we take wagers?
I wager you my backing vocals that there will be more than 10 people in the audience.
I won't wager your background vocals because we need your background vocals.
That's just the kind of response I wanted to hear. Let's talk to Damien. What would you like to wager? How about some urine?
Do I have to receive the urine or dispense it?
There it is.
Some cars here.
I'm so indie that my shirt don't fit. You wonder out loud from the light.
How come you come so quick?
But because being all prepared to be on the mic is selling out, and I'm not even about to relinquish indie cloud. I look confused like I just got out of bed. The rhyme style reflects issues. My overdeveloped sense of irony to defect. Dismissals exploding all around me. Unpromoted, don't know how you found me. Soundly situated in obscurity land. Famous in inverse proportion to how cool I am. And should I ever gone a triple-digit fans, you could tell me then there's someone not an indie than.
So indie.
Indie I be, ain't an obscure rapper out there who be indie than me.
So indie.
Indie and how come not near to me, for I be indie than thou.
So indie.
Indie indeed, if we were on an indie label, you could call me mainstream.
So indie.
Indie I am, it's all the better for the front, I like to leverage his brand.
I am sort of them that ask not of. I am fond of them that sought me not. These are a smoke in my nose.
Delving deep into my letterbox when I discovered fan mail, the MC front. It kinda hovered before my vision. I made a decision to open it up. It said, yo, from the light you suck. I was worried for a second and I started to earn love, seeking all my indie points burned up. Next, you know, I'm meeting pop stars and stretch cars, doing the soundtrack to the Wendy's tie-in with Jar Jar, paying rent, owning things, suing cause I'm with my best friend. Sting is like a nightmare, cause that ain't nerdcore. And yes, I'm indier than that within my nerdcore flow. If you're slow on the
Like the Frontal Launch show is seriously one of the best shows I've ever been to. My mouth hurts from smiling so much because it was so funny.
There's several folks there near the front that had the CD obviously and knew the words and was singing along, and so it was nice. A great way, I think, to kick off the tour.
So insane. Thank you.
So Kimmy said she wants to learn Magic the Gathering. Anyone else?
Can't be fucking serious.
Anyone else?
Did you listen to that song that we recorded called Hassle the Dorkening? Every card that you play is like 1 + 1 to how dorky you are. So I warn you.
You are a wizard, and I am a wizard. And we come to do battle, and we bring our massive spell books with us because you really can't memorize all those spells.
Watching Brandon explain Magic the Gathering.
Oh yeah, that was just horrendous.
Intense.
We're doing battle. We have 20 life, and first person to 0 loses.
I hope when they put that together, there's like time lapse right here on the screen. It's like, 1 minute into explanation, 12 minutes into explanation.
So there are 5 types of land that you suck power from to use your spells. Oh wait, first thing you do is we don't have a die to roll. There's like 400,000 rules, okay? So I'm just gonna not tell you a whole bunch of things. There's a total number
of units of what they call mana. You're not going to draw a card for your first turn because you're going first, and that's a penalty for going first, which is an advantage. This is a creature in your army. In order to use lands, you have to tap them sideways. We'll just start over.
As you know, I left the room during that whole
Did that help?
discussion. Yeah, I was less bored.
I played Hassle the Dorkening once, had 18 cards in my hand, all muds, and I didn't seem to need a mud card to win. Hadn't tapped a mud yet, then the other kid Rinzy, he'd just drawn a battalion of rolling explosions, plus the card that made me frozen, those in the row. For 20 I did it, last hit point had already got hit it, last instant had already got acquitted, got called twice and I turned dim-witted, it didn't swell up my ego much. I played Hassle the Dorkening once.
My ex-boyfriend used to try and get me to play Magic the Gathering, and I sucked at it. I hated it. I thought it was a really stupid game, and I was just like, oh, I don't know how anybody can stand this thing. And I'm glad that somebody wrote a song about how much it sucks.
We were the guys that went up to the science teacher's classroom during lunch to play Magic.
We were the people who were playing Magic the Gathering on the ear hockey table.
Yeah.
I probably have about at least $2,000 in cards sitting in my house.
Probably about the same.
They'd always come up and they turn like the air hockey table on, and you're like, no, it's tapping the mana.
You probably spend about 30 hours a week or so gaming between the computer and the cards.
Yeah, about 30 or 35, sometimes 40.
I used to play a lot of video games, and I still do.
I sold my soul to World of Warcraft.
Yeah, World of Warcraft too.
I have a Warcraft problem. It's not even a game, it's a problem.
He has 2 accounts now, so.
Real into Linux, into Star Wars. I'm a member of the 501st, the International Costuming Group, Star Wars Costuming Groups.
This is the first time I've been out to a club or a concert in a long time.
This is a algorithm for security encryption, for encrypting data.
Wrote my first program back in like 2nd grade.
I grew up playing the accordion.
I do get emotional when I read Harry Potter books.
Very nearsighted.
My geekiest obsession/inspiration it has to be Star Wars.
Straight A student.
I know a lot of cartoon characters.
So that's a deadly combination. There's kind of no getting around that.
Okay, my name's Dave, and we're here with MC Frontalot to try to let you guys know all about his deal and nerdcore hip-hop.
Hey, how's it going?
All right, so can you tell all the listeners in your own words, how would you describe nerdcore hip-hop?
Well, it's kind of like regular hip-hop, except with the word nerdcore in front of it.
That's a pretty good way to describe it, I'd say. Can you tell us how you got hooked up with your band members?
Well, G-7 I've known since we were 14. Black Lotus I met in college in Connecticut in the 90s. And the Stir Genius we have just acquired in a talent swap with the Black Eyed Peas.
Oh, really?
No.
I checked out your show last night, and I'll be honest, you guys groove really hard when you do your live shows.
Oh, thank you.
It was a lot different than I expected. Is it true that you've never been defeated in any song fight that you participated in?
That's right.
You're batting
100%,
1,000, right?
Yeah. We do all kinds of stuff for song fight over the years.
Song Fight is an online song competition where anybody who has internet access can write a song, send it in, and we'll put it up on the web for people to vote. And the catch is that we give you the title.
They vote on the best one, and front always wins.
MC Frontalot dominates Song Fight and dominates it every single time he's ever entered a song.
He has a perfect record. It's a pretty good rap. I sent MC Frontalot an email because I thought it was really funny and rappy. Because I guess he's in Song Fight and stuff like that. And then over time, I just sort of supplied him with beats.
Well, tell us about your experience with Penny Arcade. If anyone out there doesn't know, Penny Arcade's a pretty popular online webcomic.
I first heard of MC Frontalot on Penny Arcade.
It's a good source of information because they just seem to have their thumb on the pulse of like the gaming community.
I don't know that I discovered MC Frontalot. I guess I should say I found where he was doing the things that he was already doing on Song Fight. And he had put up, I believe, yellow lasers. As soon as I'd listened to it several times and I'd had that flash of realization where I was actively listening to the lyrical content of this bizarre song, I put up the link immediately.
And they linked to the MP3 on the Songfight server, immediately crashed Songfight for about a week.
Right. They call that wanging.
Wanging?
Yeah,
is
it's a verb,
Like,
actually.
and he had his website, it was just going then, and so I joined his Valued Sucker program.
I got suckered into actually giving Front money for nothing, really.
At the time, he didn't have a published CD or anything. He had some MP3s you could download for free. But if you sent him $10, I think it was $10, he would send you some stickers and a handmade CD, you know, fresh off his computer.
All right, what's the next song we're gonna play?
Let's do Crime Spree. It's a song about how incredibly hard I am to 14.
Okay, this is Crime Spree. MC Frontalot is really hard.
MC Frontalot, the arch criminal for some reason not sought by authorities. The I've been running wild for days. They is surely gonna track me down. I'm the #1 menace for miles around. With the littering, the loitering, the mattress tags, all the pirated MP3s I grabs off the cable I stole. Certain bathroom all I wrote on. Now I'm so cruel and cold, you put a faster. Even we're losing, faster. Be no time back. Time spree that I'm on, breaking the law until the break of the dawn. Then I'll break it again, then I'll break it some more.
MC Frontalot, you're so hardcore.
Here we see the Wookiee in his natural habitat. Picking nits, watching Sunday afternoon oofball.
Now you too can help a desperate nerd get back to its homeland.
I think last night I got the hang of it.
Just want to grab it.
Okay, let's try this again.
Look what you're doing. You're sort of grabbing chunks of it. Let it sit there like how you want it. That's a tie. You're wearing a tie now.
Big boy. Only at 180 now.
I am a big boy, Davey.
Ready?
Ready.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Ow, motherfucker! Ah, fuck.
Oh, my fucking back. God damn it. Hello. How's it going?
We came here to see MC Frontalot for our 5-year anniversary.
To whom?
Martin.
Martin.
Me and that girl that was up here, I'm Martin and Erica. Or I'm Martin and she's Erica. The people who emailed you.
You wanted the dedication?
Yes.
Nerdcore hip hop, they get so excited about stuff that we do every day, and it's not like drugs or violence or anything like that. It's playing video games.
It's your anniversary today?
It was actually Friday. 5 years.
Congratulations. Martin and Erica, right?
Yes.
Martin and Erica. I'm gonna make a note of it. Oh, these are my people. They're the same from place to place.
We have a young couple named Martin and Erica in the audience tonight. This is their 5-year anniversary. They urged me to dedicate to them a little special something that would commemorate their love with nerdy filth.
That was the first dedication request. He wrote like weeks ago, he wrote an email and said, you know, we're coming to the show for our anniversary, that's gonna be our treat.
This is for you. You got to live.
Close. You got to click. Close. I just got hard pressed underneath my desk and no jest. It's time for the like fest at the best of times. Got the worst of rhymes and I don't think I'm the first to find my life devoted less to lyrics than it is to my struggle for pyrrhic victory in the race to be the interweb's #1 devotee of smutty little things that recur on screen. A risque to hate, quadruple X obscene. Milfs who shape themselves so cleanly, twins in positions unseemly. My spleen ain't a part that gets vented. I grab the whole fat like a minute, descended. Probably ought to leave it alone. Spend more time stroking on the microphone. Got a boatload of midgets and they're in command of a full-grown woman on her knees and hands. Got a long, hard donkey and a farm girl too, and the brain so dismaying when it starts to spoon. You got to click, close, put it away, cause the internet is F-I-L-T-H-Y.
I think the fans are very unique at the MC Frontalot shows. I think they're all wonderful.
I'm the guy who always fixed his friends' computers.
I actually have a degree in computer networking, for sure.
I beta test video games.
Shit, I got a Game Boy in my pocket right now.
I am a scientist for the Navy.
I host karaoke. That's a pretty nerdy profession.
Well, I do text. I work in the call center.
I'm a computer programmer.
I'm a software engineer.
I'm going to grad school and I'm going to get a PhD in American literature.
A lot of these people are, like English majors and very intelligent, good writers, and they write really graphic, great accounts of the shows. And we get these emails coming in at 4 in the morning. People drive 2 hours to go to the show. We get done at 1 o'clock. They go home and type an email.
Drove from Jacksonville, Florida, about 260 miles.
We're both from Madison, Wisconsin. It's a 4-hour drive.
Ann Arbor's about an hour and a half, 2 hours away. So it's a bit of a drive.
We can go to any town in the United States so far, and there's at least 10 people. At least, even if it's 8 people that are there to see MC Frontalot.
This concentrating propane got a deep, dark dungeon full of hot fire sweets. Got to click, close, put the other way, 'cause the internet is a fire. Try click, close, put the other way, 'cause the internet is a fire. T-H-Y. Close. You got to click. Backslash on my keyboard stuff. The mouse wheel don't turn 'cause it's all gummed up. Gotta click, close, put it away, 'cause the internet is up by LTHY.
Our lead singer has thrown his back out and is in a lot of pain. 1 sec, okay. $110. I got a recommendation to go to this guy from the first person I called.
So where's Frontalot at? Is he? Where's he doing his back out?
We were all asleep and we heard this.
My back started spazzing on me a little bit.
He puked an ibuprofen out of his mouth in pain.
Every night I take a bunch of ibuprofen and jump around on the stage for an hour.
I mean, he's a true nerd. He spends like 13 hours in front of the computer every day.
Okay.
And he's never been athletic and he doesn't stretch.
My dancing is not so graceful, so I end up kind of jerking around a lot.
Just while holding an instrument?
No, actually just holding a microphone like this, and I switch hands on it too. Yeah.
Dude, I'm getting the biggest load-in vibe right now.
What's your name?
Janet.
This is Janet.
Hi.
She will be encouraging us to drink tonight.
Brandon greases the wheels, as they say, and I'm not intending to be sexually descriptive with that.
I have never been to Johnson City, although I have been pretty close. But what are the basic things that everyone knows?
He's a flirt. He's a very friendly guy.
What's your name?
Sarah.
Who'd you come to see tonight? Brandon.
Frontalot.
You came to see Frontalot, all right!
He's not a lecherous flirt.
He's extremely hyper. I mean, he's always been that way.
He never runs out of energy. He gets totally exhausted, but he will always find an extra reserve tank.
What's your name?
Daniel.
Daniel. Oh, wait, we met earlier.
Did we?
We didn't know.
No, I don't think so.
He's a really endearing flirt. He's a very pleasant guy.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Shamir.
Hi, Shamir. Good to meet you. S.H.?
S-H-A-M-I-R.
So what that does to the groupie, the potential groupie, is it gives them an in to the band.
Someone in the band was a flirt.
So Brandon provides the doorway to Frontalot, and then now that the girl feels comfortable talking with the band member, she now is one step closer to her golden god.
I didn't touch us. I touched anybody. Nobody from MC Frontalot molested us. Did not. Nobody from MC Frontalot molested us. Got him to sign my boob, but that was about it.
It's hilarious, and they are just starstruck, wide-eyed, twinkly-eyed girls at the front of the stage.
That was consensual molestation. Yeah, I told him he could grab my boob. And it only looks like he signed my boob.
the Avant Anger noise band put Kool-Aid all over Sturgis' drums, and he's pissed about that.
They had squirt guns filled with fake blood, which was basically corn syrup and red food coloring. And it was just a big mess, and it went all over my crap.
There are difficult parts of Sturgis's personality. He's very kind of like firm and stubborn about stuff.
And when he gets upset, he's upset. You know?
It's a nuisance now because like everything has this little stickiness to it, and it's just like, I don't want stickiness on anything.
It's true, but a lot's destitute. I need you to buy my CD so I could buy food. It's true, but a lot's destitute. I need you to buy my CD so I could buy food. I've been a charity case to my fan base for years, in tears at my show. Somebody buy me a ride home. Now I got something I can barter for services. Don't let the major labels get word of this. I'm girderless, free falling towards riches. Gonna sell so many CDs that I can afford britches.
He had about 5 or 6 completely devoted fans there.
That's cool.
Like serious hardcore fans.
Yes. And those girls were like groupies. I didn't have any groupies before. That was really fun.
They were like groupies.
They were like groupies.
The one in the little skirt was looking at you. God.
With some adoration.
She's been listening to him since she was 14, so of course she's doing it. He's like her. He's like the crush she had before she had crushes.
I liked them.
I liked them too. They were sweethearts.
Should we ask this cop how he ended up in such a fuckhole town?
Let's talk about the real Gabi. What's behind, you know,
The Gabi.
The Gabi. Just really powerful, deep, and very intense things that power and motivate the things that power and motivate me. As you get to know the real Gabi, you get to know that I don't get crunk. But I also, I should.
You're like a chimpanzee in the back.
But probably the thing that the fans of nerdcore are going to be most fascinated by, besides my lack of crunkness,
Your crunklessness.
what I want the kids to know, who are out there in nerdcore land, is that when you get to know the real, and when I'm talking real, I don't mean like the real for the cameras or the guy that just hangs around and, you know, does his thing. Is Gabi a regular guy? What really constitutes the essence and the molecules of what makes up the thing that Gabi is?
Gabi, what are you really trying to say?
Okay, what I'm really trying to say to the kids at home in nerdcore land, watching nerdcore films, hip hop, whatever. You kids know what I'm talking about, right? Basically, it comes down to this.
Get to the next show, everybody's loading in and getting ready to sound check, and I can see Gabi, like.
I would have put money on him at one point during this trip losing something.
I think I may have left something there.
Gabi lives with a lot of guilt on a daily basis anyway, so I don't really want to add to that.
It was a black Samsonite case that had a small synthesizer module in it.
The module for his synthesizer is the part that the brain, all the sounds for MC Frontalot, all the keyboard sounds are in this little black box.
So we still got like a couple weeks of this tour left, and we're dead in the water without that thing.
Okay, the next number is
The Hideaway, Johnson City.
We could find some guy who never forgets his gear and isn't brilliant like Gabi is. So like, you know, you kind of got to put up with people's little quirks and foibles.
You found it? So can you, Damien, it is there.
Good.
It's in Johnson City, so here's,
Let me
hold
talk
on,
to
I'm
the
gonna
person.
give you to MC Front, okay?
Is there any way I could like bribe you into FedExing it over to us tomorrow? I have a UPS account. In transit on time my ass for 3 o'clock delivery. Fuck you. Hold on. Oh no. What? She didn't put the Saturday delivery sticker on it. What does that mean? It means it's not going to be here today. Oh, so it's going to be here like Monday? Yep. Hold on. Fuck. No more than this. All right, we don't have a keyboard.
We ended up having to go to yesterday of Tallahassee, which is a huge corporate chain of music stores, to buy a new keyboard.
Ask them what the return policy is for keyboards and Pro Audio.
Because
I just have a question about your return policy on Pro Audio and keyboards. It's basically, what is the policy? What do you have in the way of synth modules?
Well, we can get you anything. I mean, you don't need it for a gig tonight or anything, do you?
Yeah. Yep. You could see Gabi last night cradling this keyboard as if it were a newborn, because basically this thing needs to get back to in pristine condition.
So we have the JV1010 finally.
It is the very same. The one and only. Okay, wait, we need our story straight.
You bought the thing. They said if it didn't suit your needs, you could bring it back. I swear to God, they promised there's absolutely no way that you cannot do it.
It's in their policy. They say if it doesn't fit your needs, well, it doesn't fit my needs.
His need was to have a free synthesizer to use the other night, and that one cost $640. It does not at all fit his needs. How do we think the tour has been going so far?
Awesome.
Has it?
No.
He freaking rules ass.
No, he fucking sucked.
Yeah, he did kind of suck.
To me, he sounds like Robin Williams. Like when he was up there doing the sound check, I was like, dude, he sounds like Robin Williams. But he kind of looks like Kelsey Grammer.
Because he fucking has no talent as far as rapping.
Yeah, he kind of.
And no, don't get me wrong. Now the band, they fucking jam. The music was great. But when he started letting vocabulary come out of his mouth, it sucked.
I wasn't paying attention to the stage at all.
I mean, it was cool for what it was. I'm glad there's a white dude up there that's not scared to have a flashlight on his head and some thick ass, birth control glasses or whatever.
I wasn't impressed or anything. I didn't like, they're not my favorite band now. No. People were just baffled.
It was different. I've never seen anything like it. So.
I wouldn't rush out to see another show now. So a lot of people are like,
that's good. I don't know what to think.
People don't like to think. In general, people don't like to think. And for a lot of nerdcore stuff, you really, the words come by so fast and the references are so oblique that you really have to think.
Bring, bring. Hey, this is MC Frontalot. I'm calling in. Yeah. All right, cool. I'm doing Atlanta at Drunken Unicorn tomorrow night. It's like showtime, probably 10. Yeah. That'd be great, E. Thank you. All right, take it easy. They're too busy at Georgia Tech Radio. They have too much lined up on their show today. I would have been very glad to talk to anyone about anything. Could have called up with the farm report, But apparently Georgia Tech, a little too hopping.
I think that nerdcore speaks to a sort of a specific audience. I don't know really how mainstream it would go, but you look at gangster rap and you think, well, that appeals to a specific audience too. But yet that became mainstream. So it's really hard to say.
It's not really a mainstream thing because being a nerd isn't really a mainstream thing.
I don't think a frat guy is gonna go, hey, I'm gonna start listening to nerdcore. They might hear this guy, they might hear one of these rappers and go, I like this guy's funny, this guy's cool. And then they go, oh, you like nerdcore? And then the guy will go, what? No way, dude, I like jockcore. I like cool guy core. I'm not a fucking nerd.
where mainstream hip hop is right now, I don't really think there's a place for us. I think if we were to break into the mainstream, it would be on a fluke, one-hit wonder kind of deal. If we wrote some really goofy song that happened to catch on and like people had it on their ringtones.
I mean, just the idea of being a rock star is sort of contrary to being really nerdy, right?
I tried to go clean from protesting, but I'm a recidivist. My government behaving with unlimited wickedness. In the interest of peace is how a liar wages war, then clamors for more. Wish we had elections every day. I wave the ballot in the air like a sound when I say democracy delivered by the bomb and the gun. It's terror elsewhere in the world I'm from.
You know, God bless your nerdcore group, but if he makes a lot of money doing that, there'll be 1,000 other kids doing the same thing to actually take that whole concept and make it pop and corny.
Oh God, I hope nerdcore ever crosses over. That would be amazing, but
I don't know as he'll cross over. Hip-hop might broaden to encompass nerdcore hip-hop.
Nerdcore could definitely become a specific genre of hip-hop. It could be right up there with everything else, like crunk and all that other bullshit.
Whatever's good is gonna rise to the top anyway.
Down like a retard on the death row in Texas. I guess tough luck, right, George? Ain't that how every war gets score big? Gun wins, winner gets a free turn. Enemy after enemy burns. Are you listening, sir? Or did your mind drift to the next country in your access to all the cool bomb drops you get to call? Delivery fresh from the board right to y'all.
I sort of think that people our age are kind of sick and tired of what's on the radio and how it's always the same thing.
There's a lot more of us than there are the football players or the prom queens or the whatnot. And so I think with that big of a potential fan base, there's certainly no reason why it couldn't hit the mainstream.
I mean, nerds are really, really loyal. If they find something they dig, I mean, that's something they carry with forever. I mean, I can do movie quotes from when I was like in the 4th or 5th grade because that's what spoke to me then, and you just kind of carry that on. So I think as long as nerdcore continues to change and kind of grow, with its audience, I think it's going to be around for a while.
To any up-and-coming aspiring nerdcore artists, all I can say is keep the faith. Your time will come.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna hit Atlanta in a few days, and I want John to come play cello on the song that he plays cello on my record.
I met her at the Star Wars convention. Did I mention she was looking for love? I had to call her bluff. Lady, you don't mean how that sounded. That 1,000-pound dude in the no-fat chick's shirt's astounded. Thought she'd take it back, revoke, rewind, reset, retract. You heard me, she said, I'll take a man here to descend to the cave where you conquer the fear. And I'll steer you to the side of the force you choose. Somebody's man enough here now. Who? This girl you've got to understand, but not look out of place on the arm of an attractive man. So the geeks in attendance got jaws on the floor. One extends his saber, but he tripped on his cloak. I stepped to the front, then I spoke. I ain't spitting game, look, I've got a Wookiee hat on, but these guys here are used to getting spat on by girls. See, you put them in shock, and this ain't the right kind of quote Mr. Spock, but it's highly illogical to me. Girl, look me in the eyes, said, is your mind free? 'Cause I've got something for you, it is shiny, it is clean. Come on up and I'll adore you with my yellow laser beam.
I just like the fact that there's a hip-hop vibe out there that doesn't speak to the misogyny and the violence and the capitalist materialism bling bling of traditional hip-hop scene.
Mainstream hip-hop is 90% front, and I think 10% is probably honesty.
I wouldn't say that the violence or the misogyny is a problem. I would say the lack of contrast is a problem.
that leads people to believe that it so dominates, the genre.
So it's like, how did shooting somebody become pop culture? To me, from a person seeing from beginning to now, it's not what I remember. I mean, and I'm not trying to be an old fogey and like, hip hop in my days was, but it's, a lot of sincerity is lost.
MC Frontalot, I can tell that he's more of a traditional MC who just so happened to find his niche and genre and then continue to run with it.
In the earlier days, it's like, you're cool, but I'm gonna be cool in my own way. Guys from the 80s and earlier, anybody from those eras, it was really cool to be smart.
There always has been like a smart side of hip hop.
No, it's never cool to be MC Brains, but there was an MC Brains.
Some of the coolest rappers out there must have like a geeky side to them, because Wu-Tang Clan has dropped so many like Marvel Comics references over the years.
Almost everybody old school considered nerdy now.
Sitting in the room upstairs, watching her wind up the buns in her hair, I declare that I'd like to be Luke. Unless that's a bit too perverted for you. Well, I could be Jabba, a Jawa, an Ewok when we talk. Ooh, like a bleak black way. I seen all them flicks, all the books that I read. Can't recall any character tied to the bed. But that's alright. Well, I'ma just pretend that I'm encased in carbonite. And why, that's a nice gold bikini. You make that? Shows off what you got, no mistake. That's one fine view of Chewbacca you're giving me. Lower that down here, we'll be living the linguistic lifestyle of the protocol droid. Then comes the part where I'm not overjoyed. Fire, she said, then before I could scream, got a steaming mouthful of yellow laser beams. I'm Ed. 'Cause I've got something for you. It is shining, it is clean. Come on up and I'll adore you with my yellow laser beam. 'Cause I've got something for you. It is shining, it is clean. Come on up and I'll adore you with my yellow laser beam.
It's her. We have a groupie.
The fans that he does attract are the kind that get hardcore, the kind of people who will drive for 6 hours to go see a show, the kind of people who will support him. I actually live in Key West, Florida, and I drove up to Tallahassee for the Tallahassee show. And then from Tallahassee, I came all the way out here to the, where are we, Baton Rouge? Yes, came all the way to the Louisiana show. So I'm like, I think I'm about 19 hours of driving in.
Yo! Hey! How's it going? Did you find your license?
Yes, it was in my car. I'm an idiot.
Jalen is our tour. She's been following us for a couple of gigs. She really likes Damien. She's really nice. I like her.
It was definitely worth it to drive the 19 total hours up to see the Frontalot show. The 2 Frontalot shows, and I'm going to catch the one in New Orleans tomorrow because I'm a big fan, and I wanted to support his first tour.
She's really nice, but I don't understand why she's so obsessed with Frontalot, but she clearly is.
He basically invented a genre of music, and I think that's worth coming out to see when it's starting up.
So here's my question. Why don't you just get a hotel room? What?
I'm not a Frontalot groupie. I'm not a groupie of any sort. I would never sleep with anyone because they're a musician.
She's part of the Grateful Dork entourage.
Right, she's gonna start our like tailgate party culture by knitting a pocket protector in the parking lot tonight.
And then she'll invite people in
And
to
she's gonna have like home woven circuit boards and shit like that.
She's also gonna sell grilled cheese sandwiches.
Grilled cheese sandwiches.
Absolutely.
For $1.
I feel protective of Jalen. I actually think we're being sort of strangely disrespectful about the whole thing, and that like, what do we want, her to leave us alone?
No, that's an excellent point. We should feel honored to have one person following us to 3 shows.
I just think she makes us nervous because, like, you know.
But girls make me nervous.
Yeah, because girls make us nervous.
Was that broadcast or podcast? Podcast with a P. Podcast rhymes well with cod last, as in these fisheries seem to be largely depleted. How long will the cod last? I don't know. I'll consult this fishing-related podcast. Wedgie. To me, you are as Jughead, who seeks to avoid a wedgie, which would cause him embarrassment in front of Veronica and Reggie. Yes, all right. Dungeon Master. Oh, boy. Okay. I can't believe you spilled the Dungeon Master. I insist you sponge. And faster. How's that? Natalie Portman? Natalie Portman is too hot to make rhymes out of. I'm sorry, I flail even at the thought.
I go all week, I don't need a bite, 'cause I'm saving it up for Saturday night for you. It's all for you. You're my sugar pie. I'm gonna sing it out loud. Sugar pie, you know you're mine. My sugar pie, you know you're mine. My sugar pie.
There's a long history of white people, you know, imitating black people and having to do it in a way that gets people to laugh at them because they don't understand how to do it with credibility or authenticity.
I think nerdcore rap is actually a little bit racist.
Unless you're extremely politically correct, I don't see anything to really get upset about there.
I thought that MC Frontalot was poking fun at a cultural paradigm.
We were not surprised. Oh, yeah, no, I wasn't surprised at all to find he was white.
Yes, I do, baby. More than a little bitty bit.
If you're trying to be real with it, I think the people who invented hip-hop would respect it. But if you're making a mockery of it, verging on like it's a minstrel show, that's when it becomes offensive and ethically inappropriate.
I think by and large, a lot of nerdcore is guilty of that same sort of appropriation of African-American creativity without much thought or self-awareness about it.
I don't think it has anything to do with misappropriation of black culture. I think it's actually going back to originally what I think hip-hop is all about, and that's really to be yourself and talk about what you're into and not what the masses are into. So, you know, in a way, for those guys to do what they do, really takes a lot of guts.
I certainly wouldn't call nerdcore racist any more than rock and roll is racist. I mean, Elvis basically was doing his own version of rhythm and blues. I mean, that culture has been appropriated since the beginning of rock and roll history, so this is yet another example.
It'd be real easy for somebody to paint that picture and say, this is, you know, another example of white people making fun of black music. But beneath the surface, it's so self-effacing that you can't even really take it there.
It's probably a lot more pressure for a black man to come out and be nerdy than it is for a white guy. Not to be racist, but to be real. Because if you're growing up in the hood or wherever you're growing up at, and you're like, hey man, blah, blah, that's hard enough. But then to come out rhyming like that, oh my God.
Your duty as a listener is to hold hip-hop to as high a standard as you can.
The whole nerdcore thing, I think what's cool about that is it's whoever is doing it is actually being honest and quote-unquote keeping it real to themselves. So, I mean, you can't beat that. To me, that's true hip-hop.
That's why you are
Here we go. Jeje Kole, Jeje Kole, Jeje Komisa, Jeje Komisa, Komisa Lala, Komisa Lala, Lala Lala, Lala Lala, Hey, 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 Jeje Kole, Jeje Kole, Jeje Komisa, Jeje Komisa, Komisa Lala, Komisa Lala, Lala Lala, Lala Lala, Hey, 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 Jeje Kole, Jeje Kole, Jeje Komisa, Jeje Komisa Lala, Jeje Lala, Lala Lala, Lala Lala, Hey, Hey, all right. Okay, guys.
I love fags cause I am a San Franciscan. If you're dissing on my homos, then this injures what you're risking. I'm insisting on containing my temper, but listen up. Shouldn't ought to be intolerant about who queers like to fuck. degrade. They got hundreds of uses. You can see them on TV, explaining what uses abstruses the world. Very simple is the homo. He or she is anyone who's keen to do another one. If you love even just one, hooray. If you don't, well, I hope you enjoyed your stay. And I hope you go on your merry way with the chorus of my song slowly turning you gay. I love fags.
On behalf of the fags of the entire world, front a lot window.
It was great, man. That front, he's such a guy. I want to give him a hug. That's what I'm waiting in line for. Can I get a little hug? Sweaty. I am too. Oh, thanks for. Oh, you are soft. Yeah, I warned you. I just want a hug. Sure. Thank you for coming. Okay. Thank you for coming to the show.
I eat in the art room like lunch. I eat at lunch by myself in the art room with all the art kids, and I don't really have many friends. I'm doodling in my sketchbook, so yeah. Basically, I get beat up and like made fun of and called a fag and everything else, but yeah.
That's part of nerd life. You don't fit into the traditional aspirations of masculinity, especially as a teenager. If you're not actively struggling to attain those goals of masculinity, then you get chastised by the word fag.
I was, to an extent, a bit of an outsider, even among like nerdy groups.
I was the kind with the tape on the glasses because my glasses were always broken. Because you know, people punch on you when you're a nerd.
I didn't get beat up badly in junior high school, but I got picked on a lot and just like you know, annoying little things like that in the back of my head.
High school was the worst. I don't know what it was, like my freshman friends were just afraid that I was gonna bring them too much grief. This is sad, I don't wanna get into it, but they all turned their back on me the first week of freshman year. Like we got to school and literally threw rocks and dirt clouds at me at lunch. They had a meeting deciding they couldn't hang out with me anymore. And I wasn't a part of the meeting. So I just we're all walking to lunch, we're all going to get sandwiches, and they just flipped out and told me to stop hanging out with them. So that was how freshman year started.
Especially young boys, like once they get in a room together, it's like who's more powerful sort of stuff, and like, you know, who's got the most pubic hairs or whatever. I never liked those kind of interactions. All through those years, I didn't have that much luck connecting with people in real life. These assholes over here make fun of me, and these other people think I'm just kind of weird and want to have distance, and maybe a couple people like me and get me, but we're all rejects. And if I could be disembodied and just have my intellect connect directly with other people through typing power, then wouldn't that be utopia? And it sort of was, and I was there on the Commodore 64 every day after school until late at night, every day.
So a place like this, and music like that, really brings people together like that you can find, you know? So it's really cool for me, yeah.
That's your first cover of a newspaper, isn't it?
Huge.
Oh my God, you got it on the same page as X-Men?
Bigger than
And you're even
Wolverine.
bigger than X-Men.
And bigger than the X-Men now.
Did you hear?
An intense day in many regards. Let us focus this tension to the precision crafted, razor sharp, needle pointiness of the nerdcore hip hop. Like 100 tiny floating point algorithms, we will invade the audience's bit space and wreck all their shit.
again. Wonder what them hooligans put on the grill that stinks. Kinda like burnt fur and regurgitated drinks. With an undertone of the acorn and leather that's laid on thick like Liz Claiborne. Step over with big trepidation. Lift up the top off the meat cooking station. To discover my homie Todd. I said, oh my God, what grim facade do you meet me with in my wakefulness? I had too many Stellas and they always Christmas.
We're hungry. We've been in line for 4 hours. If you're not here, there's something wrong with you.
Welcome to PAX. Beautiful, sunny PAX.
PAX is a game show created by gamers for gamers.
We thought, what if we just have our own convention and we do all the things that we like and that we know our fans like in one place?
I mean, he says, oh, ain't nothing left but charcoal and crystal.
And that's PAX.
I mean, it could break like crystal. He never learned to whistle. Don't break his cadaver up. What's the matter with your mind?
The entire convention hall is filled to the gills.
9,000 people pre-registered, and you still had another 5,000 or 6,000 people standing in line to buy tickets. This is my vacation.
Music has been a part of it from the very beginning. Yeah, I mean, we've always talked about it in terms of it being like Woodstock for gamers.
It occurred to me that we should have sort of a rapper laureate.
Yeah.
The way that you know, the nation has a poet laureate, because we were edgy and street. And so I sent him the mail.
We're very street.
Oh, we're street.
Yeah.
We are street as shit.
So obviously a big part of PAX is the music and the celebration. I am here with the guys from What is that?
We are the guys from MC Frontalot.
Obviously a big part of PAX is the entertainment and the celebration. So I'm here with the guys from MC Frontalot, and they are just about to go on. They are the main entertainment for Saturday night. Tell me, how are you guys feeling?
I am feeling excited. I had some coffee. I'm ready to rap quickly and accurately.
Coming in, I noticed this huge, like, really wide line of, like 5 deep, all the way down around the corner of the building, and then in the front door, and then all the way to the main main theater. And so I walked up to some kid, and I was just like, "Hey, what are you all standing in line for?" And he goes, "MC Frontalot, the mini bosses." Like, really, he's like, you get like all, like excited about it. I was like, "Oh, cool." And then I just turned around to my guys, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
This is by far the biggest showing that I've experienced dealing with this culture, this gaming culture.
L shift O to the quote and then dollar. If you know the dir of the nerdcore rhyme, you holler. Nerd ho!
Nerd, I think, is more scholarly.
You have the computer geek nerd who's, the programmer type.
There are a million types of nerds.
I don't want to say meta nerd.
Kids with trench coats on and
a loud horse laugh, maybe. In black culture, nerd is anybody who talks proper.
My wife self-identifies as a spaz.
I consider myself a creative person.
I am an academic nerd.
I am a nerd, thank you very much.
I read books.
I'm a LARPer, I'll admit it.
I definitely consider myself a cat geek.
Maladjustite.
Enthusiast.
Geek. This is all not cool terms. That's what it is.
The world has become a nerd world.
Because of the tech sector exploding and becoming more of a mainstream thing. So you have to deal with it now.
That's one thing that's pretty nice about being a geek is it's very easy to get paid.
Nerdism or something is becoming more mainstream as a result of this kind of shift in economics.
So, be careful about that nerd that you're beating up in high school, because someday he may be able to buy and sell you.
If there's anything to define a nerd in 2 words, it would be nerdcore hip-hop.
There's this larger phenomenon of kind of this nerd pride movement going on that Frontalot is really heading up.
So you have people like Frontalot that are doing these coast-to-coast tours and stuff, grassroots.
Nerdcore blowing up has been fantastic for the artists involved.
Kids were showing up and they all knew the words, and I had no idea, and I was just taking a chance, thinking about maybe I could make a little bit more money if I did live shows, thinking some people would show up, but I didn't know there was a group of people, almost like a cult.
The nerdcore fan base has been really super positive. Coming to expos like this and meeting these guys who, typically you only maybe get emails from, they come to your MySpace page, but to see them in person, they're very excited to see you play. They're actually into the music.
I like the whole nerdcore scene. I think there's a lot of great artists in it, and I think in the long term, we can do better, we can come together and really, make the nerdcore rise up and get elevated, as Frontalot would say.
I think nerdcore is like the first musical scene that says, it's really, really okay just to be who you are.
Jocks, they've got a shelf life. Geeks are forever.
We're not alone. There's many people out there like us, and it's amazing.
This is the sort of environment that I want to create.
Will you marry me?
I can see the nerds here, and I know how hard it is for you. And I just have to tell you that we run shit on the outside. We run shit. And that's the fucking truth.
Nerds rising up against everything that people think we are. Rising up against our stereotypes. And being cool despite what we do. Being cool because of what we do.
When you're in a small club, you put out some crazy energy and it bounces right back at you, you know? There's people in the front, they're like, yeah, and you're like, oh yeah, and everyone's like, wow! You know, and up there you're like, Rah! You just gotta go.
Yes.
It's like, and they just kind of consume it, and then it's like, and you're like, Ugh! And you just like sort of keep like pushing out energy.
It's like trying to have sex with a whale.
Yeah, it's
you know, because you're like, and the whale's just like.
And what does the whale say?
Oh,
yeah,
the whale says,
And you're like, come on, take it all, whale, And then the whale does that. And yeah, exactly.
Like, what's going on?
That's what playing Penny Arcade is like.
Hey, whale.
This is high stakes for me in a sense because this will be, I think, the biggest crowd I've ever been in front of.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 579th greatest rapper of all time, MC Front-A-Lot!
Nerdcore could rise up. It could get elevated. Nerdcore could rise up. Yeah. It could get elevated. Nerdcore used to be just a made-up word. The MCs shied away from belief. Rest assured they sleep hard. No longer we deliver the hits to give the kids with the spectacles spectacular fits. I sing one nerd bone with the mouth in his glee. He was me in the mirror, I'm brushing my teeth. And now the heezy we's off, no babble 300 bar. I get no error while compiling my rhyme. The slip, short, rap stylings of the hip kids continue to vex. Take your sex, money, power, but the jams are like flexes. Sea foam against the great reef of my boredom. I seen them trying to act cool, ignored them, scored some geeked out beats in the mic. Some jugglers I kick it with don't even know what rap is alright. Cause soon the whole nerdcore will congregate. Culmination of the monkey going arcade day. Nerdcore could rise up, it could get elevated. Oh, and wouldn't all of those tough rappers hate it? If the nerdcore rose up and got elevated, we considered the possibleness of this not overstated. And I know that possibleness is not a cromulent word, but every syllable injected is intended to be the one you heard. An absurd juxtaposition of vision and goal. Front a lot about to roll his diploma uptight and smoke it. Nerdcore's about to sit right there till you poke it. Wanna prod it? See if it'll kick while the smart kids calculate the hip-hop shit. Got the vast network of subversives and criminals who sit in front of the screens all heedless of ridicule these days. Complexion cleared up but the rhyming remain. Still ain't nobody know my name, and I think the same thought with great regularity. I'm the best MC that I could bear to be.
Going to Penny Arcade Convention is kind of like going to Rockstar Fantasy Camp, except, you know, my mom doesn't have to fill out the form. I don't have to pre-register or nothing. I just show up and I'm a rock star.
Like the 7,000 people paying attention to you is like, it's a really amazing feeling.
Possibleness of this not overstated. Black Lotus.
So after a show like Penny Arcade, it feels kind of amazing to be MC Front-A-Lot. There's no shame in it at all.
Nerdcore could rise up, it could get elevated. Oh, and wouldn't all of those tough rappers hate it? If the nerdcore rose up and got elevated. faded. We consider the possibleness of this not overstated. Nerdcore could rise up, it could get elevated. Thank you. Listen, I'll tell you, the front a lot is incredible. Even recommended to rock the mic like instead of a silence. You have me fronting into the amplifier, point with the thumb at which MC to admire. I got high-res images of drum sounds that I loop. You get to listen to them and to me too. How fortunate y'all are to get to bask under my glow. The MC, humble conduit to nerdcore flow. It's time for a little brag of that show while I swing my arms like that's my show.
Your looks have become a problem in the band.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
I didn't want to say anything, but now that he's
You know what I'm talking about?
The mole or the nose?
All of it. Just clean it up. Out,
He's
you
saying
know,
quit looking at me. It's like, oh, that look. That's
Yeah.
the look right there.
It's become a problem.
Okay. Enough hassling Gavi for no reason.
Tall, I got 8 balls, and all of y'all are subject to my thrall. I act appalled when in receipt of less than the highest honor. Someday I'll be both revered and passe like Madonna. I'm all in effect.
You seen my pants?
Yeah, everybody's seen my
Pants! Alright? Going to change my pants.
You say word with the server that beats. I'm unlikely to run out. Plus I'm so bright, it's like redundant to have the sun out.
And you know, if we can't sublimate our sexual desire into games, what the hell are we supposed to do with that sexual desire? That's what I want to know. Maybe we could just put little holes in the back of these seats.
glory holes.
Glory holes, yeah. That would cause more problems than it would solve.
Also lower the resale value of the band.
Not for other people who understand its purpose.
Pistachios ain't that great. I thought I'd mention them, distinctive from how awesome I am. My rhyme is venturesome, then the dumb luck of a doll I discover.
This is what I picture the song Like a Virgin being about.
Yeah.
There's this woman, right?
Yeah.
And she's a virgin.
Right.
Like, but okay, no, she's had sex once. But the song is like she's reminded of being a virgin.
Right, because
She's had sex again, but this time she's not a virgin technically, but it's like she was.
Relying on my insistence to prove that every twist of my tongue's another radical.
In order to get the full vibe, you gotta really see the bathrooms. I don't know. And this is where the guys have to go. And if you have to crap, God have mercy on your soul. Let's go look.
I can't do it.
Yes, you can. Come on. This is true documentary filmmaking.
I don't want my camera to touch that door.